which do you think has the best opportunity for sex if
You just got two balls driven down your throat.
That's right. If you want football, plus sexual innuendo, plus half-ass attempts at jokes about the NFL, you're in the right place. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. I could GM the Browns. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're traded to the Patriots for nothing. You're batshit crazy enough to be interim head coach. Let's draft another QB before we destroy the one we have. Perna. Fire trade draft, the Cleveland way. Today I'll recap all of Sunday's games for you with highlights and news updates. That's good, sports. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe before you get to the end of this video and decide that would not be a good idea. I do have big dick Patreon shoutouts for Nick Foles for president, upping his donation to $5. Big dick Micro Center guy who I met at Micro Center. Nice to meet you, Dante. And Nathan Williams. Patreon keeps my dream alive, which is making YouTube videos. So if you want to support this channel, patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. Thanks. We'll start with the Philadelphia Eagles versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Eagles win this one 24-18. We called this the letdown bowl in the prediction episode. We should have called it the arrest bowl. That's right, 4 Jacksonville Jaguars were detained in London, 3 arrested after a misunderstanding about a $64,000 bar tab. What were they drinking? Bud Light Platinum? You know what I call a $64,000 misunderstanding? Student loan debt. I thought paying that much money for an education would get me a real fucking job one day. Instead, I'm sucking the teat of YouTube every week, praying people like and share my videos like the internet beggar I am. The Jags secondary, DJ Hayden, Barry Church, Ronnie Harrison, and Jared Wilson were the players who filled the starting lineup for the London Police Department's flag football team on Saturday morning. I will say, I saw Carson Wentz make one of the most impressive sack escapes, well, since I watched Carson Wentz last season. Sure, this was an incomplete pass, but you know you're doing all right when star of HBO's Ballers, Calais Campbell, can't believe what just happened. Philly wins this game on a Wendell Smallwood run, trucking his way to victory on a 2nd and 9. How would you like to get pounded by a Smallwood? Cleveland Browns versus Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers win 33-18 and cause all of the Browns to get fired. Running back James Conner rushed for 2 touchdowns for the 3rd straight week, winning this week's Big Dick Player Award. First time in Steeler history that's happened. Maybe the offensive line was right to be pissed off at Le'Veon Bell. Or maybe Le'Veon Bell was just going as James Conner for Halloween because this is the sort of stat line he usually puts up on his best days. James Conner? No, it was me, Le'Veon Bell, all along. This game was the last straw for Hue Jackson, who got the axe on Monday morning. I'm also realizing that the last straw won't just be a saying anymore in Cleveland, as there are no more straws. 1-15 was okay, 0-16 was okay, but 2-5-1 to start the season was just too much for the Browns. Now the Browns can choose between Todd Haley or Greg Williams to be their interim head coach, which is like choosing between a rusty crowbar or a dull guillotine operated by someone with hemophobia to perform emergency surgery. Neither are ideal, and just like getting Peyton Hillis on the cover of Madden, if the internet were allowed to vote, the coach would be Bob Wiley. Only Bob Wiley, but the internet managing football teams won't happen until we get the XFL reboot, so it's Greg Williams. Because Todd Haley was also fired today. Looks like Cleveland chose guillotine. Seattle Seahawks versus Detroit Lions. Seahawks win 28-14.
You just got two balls driven down your throat. Size matters too, right?
Absolutely.
Except the Lions couldn't cram the ball down anyone's throat. The reason I believed in Detroit was because of Kerryon Johnson, but Seattle stuffed him like a Build-A-Bear and then threw away the Build-A-Bear before it could bring anyone any sort of joy. In hindsight, it feels obvious that Seattle would play an inspired game after the passing of their owner, Paul Allen. The Lions played Microsoft. while the Seahawks played PC hard, politely crushing the Lions to honor their former owner, running the ball up the middle with Chris Carson, coming down with contested catches, including some great ones by David Moore, who I just learned was a player, and running fake punts with Michael Dixon from their end zone. Baltimore Ravens at Carolina Panthers. Panthers crush the Ravens 36-21. Tough weekend for Joe Flacco as he took a loss on Saturday night in left field for the Dodgers, and then came out and lost on Sunday afternoon to the Panthers, and then lost the whole damn World Series the same evening. I'll never get tired of seeing Alex Collins doing the river dance in the end zone. It reminds me of my home country of Italy, and just in time for Oktoberfest, where I honor my dead relatives via Dia de los Muertos, as made famous by the hit Pixar movie Moana. The Panthers are quietly 5-2, but why talk about how legit good they might be when I can show you Lamar Jackson highlights? 4 of 5 for 46 yards passing and a touchdown. That's an 80% completion percentage. Drew Brees level in my opinion. 144.6 QB rating. Aaron Rodgers level in my opinion. And 26 rushing yards, Cam Newton level in my opinion. Lamar Jackson, best QB alive. Smoke it, cause it's good. New York Jets at Chicago Bears. Bears win 24-10. It might be time to ask if the Bears are actually better without Khalil Mack. Also, is cereal better without milk? Are cars better without seatbelts? Is Kanye better without Trump? Mitch Trubisky came to the game dressed as Mike Ditka. You know, the guy who used to coach the Saints and co-starred in Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell. The Bears proved that short people matter too, and got a combined 162 yards out of Tariq Cohen and Taylor Gabriel, who are 5'6" and 5'8" respectively. Tariq Cohen just averaged 70 yards per catch on Sunday. Okay, it was just one great play, but it's still an average. Same way 5'7.5" is average height for men. The Jets could only muster up 207 yards of offense against Chicago, who was playing without Khalil Mack yesterday. Did I mention they did not have Khalil Mack? And just to show you how tight the NFC North is, the Bears started the day in 4th place, but after they won, the Lions lost, the Packers lost, and the Vikings lost, they moved all the way up to 1st place. So they went from worst to 1st in under 12 hours. About 730 times faster than a normal team. Pretty impressive. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals eke out a 37-34 win.
Which do you think has the best opportunity for sex?
The answer to that question is Ryan Fitzmagic. If I dress up like him for Halloween, I too have
best opportunity for sex.
Now this game was fun. Jameis Winston threw 4 interceptions and then got benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick, America's quarterback, who came in and just led a game-tying drive, complete with a touchdown pass and 2-point conversion with 1:05 left in the game. Trey Wingo tweeted this gem about Jameis Winston. In his 48 career NFL games, he also has 50 interceptions and 21 fumbles. That's 71 turnovers. He is what he is, and if you expect him to change at this point, that's on you. Jameis Winston sucks at quarterback. And the only thing that probably sucks more than Jameis Winston at this point is the Tampa defense, which is why Andy Dalton drove the length of the field in less than a minute and set up a chip shot game-winning field goal for his team on their way to victory. Washington Redskin Potatoes versus New York Giants. Washington and the AARP club win 20-13. Adrian Peterson tears off a 64-yard touchdown run in this game. He and Frank Gore are at that perfect age where they can still rush for 1,000 yards but also make money starring in eugenics commercials alongside Frank Thomas. Peterson had 2 touchdowns as the Skins moved to 5-2 and in complete control of the NFC East. The Washington Redskins are the Chicago Bears of the East. The Giants, on the other hand, are 1-7 now, and they refuse to bench Eli Manning, who may very well be the worst starting quarterback in the league at this point. The backup in New York is Kyle Lauletta, who played in college for the Richmond Spiders, whose eggs always hatch into starting NFL quarterbacks. Kyle Lauletta also looks like if the New York Giants were a sitcom and they were recasting Eli Manning with a younger, more attractive version of himself. Kyle Lauletta is a single dad, inexplicably living in a New York City apartment that would cost $8 million, which he somehow affords on a teacher's salary. Check out Sacked. Thursday night, 8/7 Central. Indianapolis Colts versus Oakland Raiders. Colts win 42-28. Andrew Luck continues to throw touchdowns at will. The Colts, Mo Alley Cox caught a touchdown pass from Luck in this game.
Mo Alley Cox!
Do you know what you need to beat Goff in the NFL?
Mo Cox!
You just got two balls driven down your throat.
Doyle rules!
Unfortunately, the Colts do not play the Rams. We will not get to say the Colts are beating Goff because they have Mo Cox and a hooker on the sideline. Instead, I saw the NFL continue to deteriorate faster than the Raiders organization when they penalized Fadal Brown for tackling a running back too hard. Instead of protecting running backs from hits, NFL, how about paying them fairly instead of taking advantage of the fact that the majority of them won't outplay their rookie shitty contracts? Adam Vinatieri kicked a field goal to set the record for most NFL points by a player. That was point number 2,547 for the 44-year-old kicker. Or 40, how old is he? Green Bay Packers versus Los Angeles Rams. Rams win this one 29-27. You can always tell Aaron Rodgers is mad by the way he throws his Microsoft tablet. Hard to criticize him though, because even that was a perfect pass. I do hope Aaron Rodgers had the warranty on that, because with the contract he just signed in the preseason, he can probably only afford to replace that Microsoft Surface 250,000 times over. He's just lucky it's not an iPad. Add Ty Montgomery to the list of Packers who betrayed Aaron Rodgers this season with this fumble that cost the Pack another miraculous comeback. Speaking of coming on backs, I really thought this was the game where we could finally see someone hunker down and beat Goff. But I guess Rodgers blew his load too early and couldn't sustain the lead for 60 minutes, which to be fair is a long time to ask someone to last. Todd Gurley is so tired of scoring touchdowns that he did his best Julio Jones impression and gave up inside the 5-yard line to end the game. You know you're destined to win a Super Bowl when you're so good you win the game by not scoring on the go-ahead touchdown. San Fran at Cardinals. Cardinals win 18-15. This was the San Francisco Giants versus the St. Louis Cardinals. At least that's what it felt like, with a 3-5 score in the third quarter. Look, I have no fucking clue how baseball works. That's just what people say when there's a low-scoring football game with odd numbers. Byron Leftwich is now the offensive coordinator in Arizona, and I can assure you that nothing makes you feel older than seeing players you watched get drafted and play in the NFL and then become coaches. Josh Rosen shook off his 5 turnovers against the Broncos and hit Christian Kirk for the game-winning touchdown with 34 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Larry Fitzgerald also had a touchdown catch late in the game where he flipped the ball to the officials so quickly that I wasn't even sure he completed the catch. That's how goddamn classy Larry Fitzgerald is. Saints versus Vikings. New Orleans wins 30-20. The Saints made history. They became the first team in the NFL to have 3 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. Then immediately became one of the dumbest teams in the NFL because they ran it with 3 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. Meanwhile, the Jaguars, Broncos, and Giants can't seem to find one quarterback to lead their talented teams to wins. This was a great game. The Vikings are probably the most underperforming team in the league right now. And this game was really no different. A close battle until Kirk Cousins throws this pick 6 because Stephon Diggs stopped running his route. Something Adam Thielen would have never done because he's perfect. And he did tie former Detroit Lion receiver Calvin Johnson for most consecutive 100-yard receiving games. And just like Calvin Johnson on the Lions, he did it during a loss, probably. Drew Brees did not set any records on Sunday. In fact, if Drew Brees throws for less than 300 yards in a game, the NFL stat tracker just defaults to dash for his passing yards. Now, Mark Ingram, after the game, said this.
Hey, any team worth a damn
Any team worth a damn could win on the road, man. That's just the bottom line.
Oh, man. Any team that has Ingram and Kamara is cool as fuck. I'd love to see a reality show with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram called Cool as Fuck. They're like the odd couple who love each other and most importantly are cool as fuck. Show me two players in the NFL cooler as fuck than those two and I'll show you a fucking liar. And I think now I have met my fuck quota for this episode. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's the only thing I have to validate my self-worth. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon Perna if you want tweets and pictures of more football shit. And Will Keys helps me write all these episodes. Give him a follow on Twitter at WillKeys6. That's the story of a boy.